Hey everyone, Shaun Stevenson here, author of the Throne series, and it's finally time. It's finally time to go through all of the Goosebumps books I've been finding lately. This is episode number 4 in the quest for the 62. Now, what I've been trying to do is find the original 62 Goosebumps books in the wild. So I am not ordering any of the original 62 online. I am not trying to get them from people. I am trying to find them in the wild as much as I can. So I've been finding quite a few, and I also have obviously found other books in the Goosebumps series along the way. Now today I do have a special guest because I have come to an epiphany. I have some Goosebumps books to talk about that I've read recently, and here's what I'm discovering about my favorite Goosebumps books. So far, my favorite Goosebumps books are the ones that are ghost stories. I really love the ghost stories from R.L. Stine. They have been some of my favorites. I've really enjoyed them. And so I have a little friend here today. So this is my little ghost that I found. I definitely found this at Dollar Tree. This is like a little plastic little guy who lights up. This is a little ghost that I got for $5 in the Dollar Tree $5 section. And so he's going to be here helping us out today as we talk about these Goosebumps books. So let me get him onto the shelf and I'll be right back. All right, we are ready. Oh, wait, I think I need to hit the lights. Just 1 second. All right, now we are ready for these Goosebumps books. Let's dive in and see what we got. Also, please note the little shoes on this ghost. I can't even. I just think it's hilarious. Love it. All right, let's dive into these Goosebumps books. Ready? Great. So in the Give Yourself Goosebumps series, I have found quite a few different books in this series that I did not have before. In fact, I found one that my brother and I have been laughing about for years. We think this one is so funny, and I haven't read it yet, and so I need to read it, which I will be very soon. That is book number 6 of the Give Yourself Goosebumps series, Beware of the Purple Peanut Butter. Which I don't even know what's happening in this book, but I will definitely read it and find out, which this copy was in really good condition when I found it. I was super excited about that. Also, very sad, but it has a Borders sticker on it. Rest in peace, Borders. The next one I found in the Give Yourself Goosebumps series is book number 7, Under the Magician's Spell, which, if you don't know, I actually am a magician. I've done different magic shows at libraries and different places, and so these books are always super interesting to me, and I cannot wait to read this one and find out what happens. And then this is book number 8 in the Give Yourself Goosebumps, which, look at that cover. I love it so much. The Curse of the Creeping Coffin. I can't wait to read this one because I kind of like coffins and the skeleton vibe, all that stuff is great. So I'm super excited to read this one. And then I also found book number 10, Diary of a Mad Mummy, which this one, I got it when I was reading all the different mummy books. I have not read this one yet, but I will be soon because I want to rank all the mummy stories from R.L. Stine because I don't think R.L. Stine knows what to do with mummies, honestly. So we'll see what happens in this one. And then I also picked up number 12, Welcome to the Wicked Wax Museum, which I have heard some people say this is one of their favorites of the Give Yourself Goosebumps series. So I'm super intrigued to read it and see what happens in it and why people like it so much. And then this is book number 15, Please Don't Feed the Vampire, which I remember when I saw the Goosebumps film that came out with Jack Black in it, I remember thinking, what's with this poodle that has fangs? Because I did not know this book existed. And then I thought, oh, that poodle's from this book. So we'll have to see what happens in this particular Give Yourself Goosebumps. And then I also found some Goosebumps Presents, the TV episode ones. So I found a few of these, which I was really excited about because I hadn't picked up any of these yet. So this is Goosebumps Presents, or episode number 3, Welcome to Camp Nightmare. So these are a lot shorter than other Goosebumps books, and they're based off the television episodes that were created in the 90s. Oh, and then this one. This is another Goosebumps Presents, but this is TV book number 9, Go Eat Worms, which I believe is right now my least favorite Goosebumps book in the original 62. I actually kind of despise that book the more that I've thought about it. So I'm not very excited about reading this one because I have seen this episode and I did not like that episode either. So, well, here we go. And then I also found TV book number 11, Let's Get Invisible, which this one's a really good story. So I am excited to read this one and kind of see how they compare. I haven't actually read any of these Goosebumps Presents ones to see how they compare to the original books that were written that the TV episodes were based on. So that could be really interesting to me. And then Goosebumps Presents number 13, Ghost Beach. And then this one I actually did order because I was looking for it special for when I was reading all the Mummy books, and this has a Mummy short story in it. And this is triple header Goosebumps book number 2, which is called 3 Shocking Tales of Terror. So this one has the Mummy story in it, which I actually have not read yet. It's been a season. So I'm going to get to this one very soon though, because I really want to read all the Mummy stuff from R.L. Stine so I can compare everything and see how it all holds up. But I was super excited to find this, and it has that really cool little lenticular picture up at the top there, which I think is awesome. And then this was another one I found that I was super excited about. This is More Tales to Give You Goosebumps, which has short stories in it. And this one has 10 stories, a special edition number 2. So I was super excited to find these. I actually, like I said in another video just recently, I really love horror story anthologies. I think they're a lot of fun to read. So I'm excited to read this one and read more spooky Goosebumps stories. And then another one I picked up when I was getting all the Mummy books and reading them is this one here, which is Who's Your Mummy? Well, this is book number 6 in the Goosebumps Horrorland series. So I've heard this one's pretty decent. I have not read it yet. So this is another Mummy one that's on my list to read, but I've heard this one's pretty good. So we'll see if R.L. Stine can do something with mummies, because so far he has not been very good at it in the original 62 books, in my opinion. Like, those stories are good in different ways than having to do with the mummy. And then this is book number 5 in the Goosebumps Most Wanted series, which is Dr. Maniac Will See You Now, which one of you actually recommended I read this one because it's a superhero kind of based one. So I thought that would be really interesting to read. So I went ahead and found it and picked it up, and I'm excited to read it. So as far as the original 62 books that I've collected, I've got 3 of them, and one of them's a cheat. So I had to cheat on one of them, but it's because I wanted to read it so bad. So because I have not read it yet. And it's one that everyone says is like one of the best. First of all, though, I picked up book number 33, The Horror at Camp Jelly Jam, which I do not know how I have managed to avoid spoilers about this book because everyone talks about it, but I still do not know the end. So don't comment in the comments about the end of this book, please. I want to keep it as a surprise for when I actually do read it. And unfortunately, the free decal of doom was not in the book anymore, but that's okay. So I'm excited to read this one because everyone says it just has a wild ending. So I can't wait to read it. And then this is one of the higher up ones that I did not have yet. I do think this might be the highest one I have. No, it's actually not. I have number 55. But this is book number 53, Chicken, which I've heard some people really despise this one. So I don't know. I'll have to read it and find out what's happening. And then for the one I cheated on, I know. Because I've been trying to collect the original covers from the original run. Not necessarily first printings, but at least original covers. And this one's not the original cover, but it's okay because I want to read it so badly. And this is The Curse of Camp Cold Lake, which everyone says is one of the best. So I really want to read this one. I think it looks super creepy and could be a lot of fun. So as far as reading goes, I have been reading quite a few Goosebumps books. I've got quite a few more that I've read. So I just wanted to tell you which ones I have read most recently. So I started, like I said, reading some of the Mummy books. So I read book number 5, The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb, which I do have a review up on the channel of this book. And like I said there, this book is not bad, but it's not about the mummy. It's a pretty good one, and I actually really enjoyed it. But the mummy is not really in it. So I just say that if you go in wanting a good mummy story, this is not a mummy story. This is a great Egypt story. It's a great, story set in the pyramids and all those sorts of things, and like, ancient tombs and curses and that kind of stuff. But the mummy does not really show up. So just know that going in, and I think it will help a lot. But this one was a lot of fun. And then when I was also reading through the Mummy books, I read Return of the Mummy, which I have not reviewed this one yet. And here's why. This one felt like just kind of more of the same of The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb to me. Like, it didn't really do anything super new. It even followed like a lot of the same beats, the same tropes. And I kind of was thinking, oh, this is not exactly what I was hoping for in a sequel to the Mummy book. Like, I wanted a mummy. I did not want backstabbing and like more exploration of the desert and all that kind of stuff. I wanted the mummy. And it just didn't really live up to it for me. So I still need to review this one, and I will be reviewing it, but I didn't super love it. So continuing on with original series Goosebumps books I've read a few outside the original ones that I'll talk about in a second, but I also read book number 10, The Ghost Next Door, which is, in my opinion, the saddest Goosebumps book ever written out of the ones I've read so far. This one was so sad. I really felt like it had this forlorn feeling to it, and I just kept thinking, oh, I am feeling very, very sad right now after reading this book. Like, I just kind of had to sit with it afterwards. I do have a review of this one up on the channel, so definitely check that out. But like I said, it was so sad. But it was a ghost story, and I do like the ghost stories. Okay, so I actually didn't give this one the worst review when I reviewed it on the channel, but in retrospect, I do not really like this Goosebumps book, and that is book number 21, Go Eat Worms. This book was one of the most annoying Goosebumps books to read. I really didn't like it. The more I thought about it, the more I just am like, this is not the kind of Goosebumps I like to read. I don't like to read these kinds of just like zany Goosebumps stories they're disturbed. It's more disturbing. That's what it is. It's more like a disturbing story than it is like a spooky story. And I lean towards the spooky stories personally. But then I read another Mummy book from series 2000. This one was The Mummy Walks, book number 16. And I have got to say, this had the best hook of any Goosebumps book I've ever read. The hook at the very beginning, I thought, what? What is happening? And that hook is what drove me through the rest of the book. Even when it took some very interesting turns that I was not expecting, I just had to know about the truth about the hook at the very beginning of the book. If you have not read this one, definitely try it. It's very different from other Goosebumps books. It's almost like, I kind of think about it as if R.L. Stine was trying to write a Tom Clancy novel or an Anthony Horowitz kind of spy novel. It's just so different from other Goosebumps books, but it was so interesting. There's some twists you can definitely see coming. I haven't reviewed this one on the channel yet, but it's coming, I promise. But I did enjoy it quite a bit. And then R.L. Stine figured out what to do with mummies. This This book was so great. This is book number 8 in the Slappy World series, The Dummy Meets the Mummy. I loved this book. I could not get over the idea of Slappy up against the mummy. This is like I was surprised R.L. Stine has not really done this yet up to this point, where it's kind of like taking two classic monsters and pitting them against each other to fight. You know, this is something that Universal did all the time back in the day with like Dracula versus Frankenstein and so versus the mummy and so versus the swamp creature. And it was like all those kind of versus sort of things. But this was so genius. The Dummy Meets the Mummy was great and lives up to the hype, because Slappy, you know, usually Slappy is thinking, I'm the best, I'm the top of the food chain here. But Slappy meets his match, and it is so fun. It's as fun as you think the premise is going to be, and I just enjoyed it so much. Also, this one has parts, so there's like a part 1, part 2, part 3, and I feel like R.L. Stine used that really well in the construction of the story, which I will be doing also a review of this one sometime soon, and I cannot wait to talk more about it because it was that much fun. So I'm still on the hunt for Goosebumps books. I'm getting closer. Every time I get a little bit closer to my total that I need of all 62. So in this one, I found really only 2 more. I have not found 3 more because Curse of Camp Cold Lake I don't count yet. Just that's a copy to get so I can read the story because everyone talks about it. But I will be still looking for that original cover copy. So until next time, everybody, keep reading. Bye.